Every summer, when the leagues end and the stadiums empty, football enters its most mysterious period. There are no matches, no goals, but the game doesn't stop. It changes scenery. It leaves the pitch and moves to offices, to phones, to social media, to airport corridors. That's where the other game begins, the transfer market. For some, it's a season of excitement. For others, of fear. For everyone, of emotions. This summer, more than ever, the transfer market isn't just a dance of millions. It's a silent war, a chess game of unexpected moves, where the big teams falter, the small teams dream, and the players make decisions that sometimes change everything. And in the midst of all this, you're there, waiting, checking every hour, refreshing the page. Has it been announced yet? Did it fall through? Is it done? Welcome to the summer of football. A summer of rumors, betrayals, comebacks, and new legends. It all began, as always, with silence. A deceptive calm. A player's vacation posted on Instagram. Sun, beach, laughter. But behind every smile, there were calls. Behind every selfie, there was a plan. And the first big earthquake came from France. But it wasn't in Paris. It was in Marseille. Olympique de Marseille broke all the rules by signing Raphaël Leão, a star from Milan. No one saw it coming. An ambitious project, led by a new investment group and a young revolutionary coach. Leão isn't going it alone. He's joined by Guendouzi, Isak from Newcastle, and an old acquaintance, Dimitri Payet, who returns as a director. A French project, but with a European soul. The country was shaken, and Paris, as expected, responded. Paris Saint-Germain, tired of seeing talent slip away, reacted furiously. They sold, and they signed. Donnarumma sold to Bayern for 65 million. Hakimi headed to Chelsea for 45. Dembélé to Barca. Yes, to the same club he left. A strange but sentimental move. And the arrivals? This is where the surprise comes in. Thiago Almada, the Argentine ex-Atlanta United player, returns to Europe with all the attention. He's accompanied by Warren Zaïre-Emery, now the team's new leader, at just 19 years old. And the bench goes to Thierry Henry, the idol, the myth, the risk. "We want a PSG with soul," said the president. "We've already had stars. Now we want an identity." Will it work? Nobody knows. But PSG, as always, doesn't go unnoticed. While this was happening in France, the noise in England didn't stop. The Premier League, that monster that seems to have infinite resources, began to move its pieces with force. And the first blow was one of the biggest. Manchester United, with a new management and a thirst for footballing revenge after a lackluster season, did the unthinkable. They signed Kylian Mbappé. A historic contract. More than 120 million euros for the transfer. A salary that makes him the highest-paid player in the Premier League. And most importantly, a message. We're here for everything. Mbappé chose United for its history, for its ambition, and, as he himself said, because I want to mark an era. His arrival coincides with a complete overhaul of the club, a new sporting director, a new approach, and smart signings like João Neves, a young Portuguese midfielder from Benfica, and Alphonso Davies, who left Bayern in search of new challenges. Yet, not everything is rosy in England. Liverpool, with Arne Slot as its new manager after the Klopp era, hasn't quite convinced its fans. Important departures like Luis Diaz to Atletico Madrid and Ibrahima Konate to AC Milan leave gaps that are difficult to fill. In return, young players arrive. Xavi Simons, on loan from PSG, and Benjamin Sesko, a bet for the future. At Chelsea, the money continues to flow like an endless river. They signed Frenkie de Jong, paying 90 million from Barca, and Victor Osimhen from Napoli. Two huge names, but a squad that already looks like a puzzle without instructions. While everyone is looking up, Aston Villa signs smart. Brighton sells dearly. West Ham keeps Kudus despite offers. And Newcastle, hurt after being knocked out of the Champions League, signs Matheus Nunes to rebuild from the midfield. And this is where football reminds us of something important. It's not all about millions. It's about decisions, about dreams, about places that feel like home. And in that sense, one of the most emotional signings of the summer was Angel Di Maria. After his time at Benfica and his last Copa America, Di Maria decides to return to Rosario Central. "It's the last dance," he said. "I'm going back to where it all began." Tears, ovation, nostalgia. Because there is no signing more valuable than that of the soul. Spain, the land of the Galacticos, of tiki-taka, of magical Champions League nights. This summer, the Iberian Peninsula is experiencing one of the most intense and contradictory markets in its recent history. In the north, Real Madrid is smiling quietly. After Mbappé's departure, fans feared another market of uncertainty, but Florentino Perez had everything planned. Madrid doesn't need to sign stars, they already have them. Jude Bellingham, who now wears the number 7, has become the team's spiritual leader. Vinicius Jr. is at his best, and Endrick, at just 18, has already shown in preseason that he's not coming to learn, he's coming to compete. Even so, the club isn't resting its head. It signed Florian Wirtz from Leverkusen, paying 85 million for the German playmaker. Young, technical, elegant. The natural heir to Modric, who this summer packed his bags for the Netherlands, heading for Feyenoord, in a story we'll tell in a few minutes. And the most unexpected, Casemiro, after a difficult season at United, returns to Madrid on a short, symbolic contract. To close the circle, to help the youngsters, to retire where he was happy. On the other side of the city, Simeone's Atletico Madrid remains true to its style. Useful signings, without fuss. Luis Diaz arrives from Liverpool. Samu Omorodion returns after his loan at Alaves. And the most sentimental signing, De Gea, who returns home as Oblak's backup. The team is getting stronger, but always under the same motto: suffer, compete, and, when no one expects it, bite. Meanwhile, in Barcelona, the atmosphere is different. Excitement mingles with uncertainty. Hansi Flick's arrival as the new manager seemed like the beginning of a new era. But it hasn't been easy. The club continues to struggle with the financial restrictions of La Liga. Departures continue. Rafinha, sold to Chelsea. Ferran Torres, loaned to Sevilla. And rumors about Gavi's possible sale to Bayern Munich worry fans. But there is light among the shadows. Xavi Simons returns, this time as a Barca player. Dembélé arrives in a deal that seems straight out of a soap opera. And the signing that generates the most excitement. Nico Williams, Athletic Club's gem, who joins the club with the mission of bringing electricity back to the attack. And yes, Lamine Yamal is still here. And he continues to grow. He's 17 years old and plays like he's 30. Barca's future depends on his boots. Can Flick build something solid with so many new players? Will Barca be a project or just another attempt? We'll find out soon. In Italy, teams are built as if each season were the last. Serie A is experiencing a resurgence, not in glamour, but in competitiveness. Inter, last season's champion, has managed to keep Lautaro Martinez despite offers from Saudi Arabia and the Premier League. They signed Piotr Zielinski and the young Argentinian Facundo Buonanotte from Brighton. They strengthened solidly, without losing their essence. At Juventus, the scent of change is in the air. After years of failed projects, they signed João Felix, a risky but exciting move. They surrounded him with experienced players, Rodrigo de Paul, who is returning to Italy, and Robin Gosens, who is returning after his time in Germany. Milan, on the other hand, has lost some pieces. Leão left. Tomori was injured, but a new hero is arriving. Benjamin Šeško, the Slovenian striker who left Leipzig for the challenge of San Siro. And watch out for Thiago Giallo, a centre-back who promises to become a cornerstone. And Napoli is experiencing a new chapter after Osimhen's departure. They're rebuilding with Jonathan David as a striker and Xerxes as a backup. The style is changing, but the hunger remains. And let's not forget Atalanta, which continues to surprise. It signed Lo Celso, the young Enzo Milot, and kept Scalvini and Co-op miners, despite the offers. Gasperini continues to create art, with players that others failed to appreciate. But if there's one story worth telling this summer, it's that of Luka Modric. After a golden decade at Real Madrid, the Croatian genius decides he won't retire at the Bernabeu, or in Arabia, or in the MLS. He's going to the Netherlands, to Feyenoord, a club with soul, a young project, a city that breathes football. Modric doesn't become a star. He becomes a mentor, to share, to teach. His first message to the locker room was clear. I didn't come to win titles. I came to help you win them. The Eredivisie received him as a gift, and Feyenoord also signed Noah Okafor, the Mexican Santiago Giménez, and the young Japanese Takefusa Kubo, who is looking to reinvent himself after an irregular spell at Real Sociedad. History is written. Now it's time to live it. And while Europe is in turmoil, there is one continent that continues to push hard. Asia.